Pats Nation, welcome on in. It's your boy Colby with Patriots Global back here with another. And today we are going to be wrapping up the New England Patriots breakdowns for their 2024 draft class. Now, they will make a lot of UDFA signings, as I see they actually are while I'm making this. We'll break those down later this week. We'll talk about the steals. We'll talk about the players. What do I like? Do I not like it? And we'll get into that a little bit later. But with the final pick for the Patriots in the 2024 draft in the 7th round, they are going to be drafting tight end Jaheim Bell. Let's get into this one. Hey man, look, I said it in my last video. I'll say it again. It is so refreshing to have the team actually draft players that we, the fan base, know, that we, the fan base, have come to love during the draft process. I mean, Jaheim Bell, he was a guy on one of my Patriots big boards. Jalen Polka guy on my big board. Javon Foster on my big board. Drake May on my big board. Now, we have some guys that obviously weren't on my big board that I really didn't know anything about, but that's bound to happen with every team at some point in the draft. Now, of course, if you are looking for breakdowns on all of the Patriots' other selections, make sure that you guys go ahead and check out my channel. At this point, I have breakdowns on every single other player that the Patriots drafted. You guys are going to know about these rookies. Who are they? What do they bring? And my overall thoughts and reactions on them. There'll be a playlist too, where you guys can just click it and it'll play right through, and you guys can go ahead and listen to all of my thoughts and reactions. But let's hop in here to Jaheim Bell. Now, Jaheim Bell is a guy that the Patriots did meet with at the Senior Bowl. Patriots also had a visit with him. This is a guy that they had some real top interest in, so there's no surprise that they went with him. It really felt like Jaheim Bell was an Alex Van Pelt type of tight end. That's why when we heard that they met with him, it made all the sense in the world. But of course, he also falls under the realm of the entire Patriots draft class, to where, again, he performed at the Senior Bowl. It was really big for the Patriots to get guys in the building and draft guys that they either met with at the Senior Bowl or had a top 30 visit with. I'm pretty sure all, if not most, of their players they had done so with. But Bell is still fairly young. I do think that he's a very much developmental prospect, but the Patriots are getting him here in the 7th round. He had a 5th round projection on him. I know that NFL Network thought that he could go in the 6th, but nonetheless, excellent value for New England to get him in the 7th, because I do think that he was the type of player that teams would have to bid for as an undrafted free agent. And of course, as we know, these days, undrafted free agents are making more money than 5th, 6th, 7th round picks are, so it made sense for the Patriots to take him here. Another offensive weapon too, right? Like, that really seems to be the name of the game for the Patriots. Elliott Wolf didn't lie to us earlier this offseason, like a lot of Patriots fans thought. He said, we are going to weaponize the offense. It might not have happened all that much through free agency, but they definitely weaponized the offense through the draft. You double down at wide receiver, you get yourself a developmental tight end, you double down on the offensive line, getting a tackle and a guard, and you get your franchise quarterback. But like I said, Bell is still very much developmental. Only 22 years old, 3-star recruit in South Carolina during the 2020 class, transferred from South Carolina to Florida State in 2023. So this was actually his first year at Florida State. Kind of bold to transfer with 1 year left at college and then enter the draft, but only 21 career starts. Going back to exactly what I said, developmental. There's not a lot of tape to see from Jaheim Bell, and he's still learning the position 100%. And I think that's why you don't necessarily know the fit of Jaheim Bell just yet. He's the type of player where he can play all over the offense, but because of that, you don't really know what type of player you're getting. He doesn't necessarily thrive in one specific role. So I think for the Patriots, it's figuring out what type of tight end do you have on your hands? Do you have just a big slot tight end? Do you have a guy that's going to play inline? Does he have the versatility to also play outside? Is he a guy that can develop as a blocker, or is he strictly just going to be a receiving threat that lines up as a tight end? One thing I will say too is that the transition in some ways did bode well for him because this past season in 2023, he was second team all ACC. Now, a bit small for a tight end. I mean, he's not your 6'5", 6'6" guy, but he is 6'3", 239 pounds. Like I mentioned, not your traditional tight end. He played a lot more H-back in college, also played a lot of wing also. So kind of think what Pharaoh Brown played for the Patriots at times last year. The best thing about Jaheim Bell is easily his speed in the open field. Now, that's not to get confused with his speed overall. He's not a fast tight end. I mean, he's just not fast, period. His 40 time was a 4.6, which, I mean, I guess for the tight end position is on the faster side. But again, get him into space and he is quick. He is elusive. He is fast, especially when you get him matched up against a linebacker. Now, because he is also a little bit smaller for a tight end on the more nimble side, he does move a lot quicker. He moves very nimble. He moves very, very smooth, but he's also an above average yards after the catch threat. I mean, he was very, very rated in the nation in terms of his ability, even this past season after he got the ball in his hand. Not only that, but he does a really good job tracking the ball in the air. I mean, to me, he screams like a David Njoku type of role. And I'm not saying that he's as polished as David Njoku. He's not as good of a run blocker, that's for sure, as David Njoku. And we'll get into that here in a minute. But a guy that can play everywhere, a guy that is a receiving threat. And we know that Alex Van Pelt was able to unlock David Njoku this past season with the Cleveland Browns. So can he work his magic here again with Bell? And honestly, even from a receiving standpoint, I could see some comparisons to Jonnu Smith, who obviously, as Patriots fans, we all know. Now, ultimately, didn't really work out. I also think that Jonnu Smith wasn't put in a position to succeed here in New England. And Bell isn't, again, nearly as good of a blocker as Jonnu Smith was. But from a receiving standpoint, the way that he's utilized in yards after the catch, there's a lot of similarities between those players. Now, there are some problems with him, of course. He is shorter. He's a bit more lean for the position. He kind of screams more of like that outside receiver. He does to me more than he does tight end, and a very, very, very poor blocker. Not very good. Not very good at the point of attack either. That's a part of his game that he's going to need to upgrade at. And again, I know why the Patriots went here. The value was great, but you need more of a blocking tight end here. I feel like that was the role New England needed the most. And they kind of went with another tight end who, not a great blocker, but has that receiving upside. Now, while he is still good at high pointing the ball, he has a pretty good catch radius. Don't ask him to catch between 2, 3 defenders, right? He's not the type of tight end that is going to take those hard hits and who's going to catch in traffic and make those tough grabs between defenders. That's not the type of guy he is, but the Patriots already have that type of guy on the roster anyway. At the end of the day, don't necessarily expect the world from somebody like Bell, but he does have the potential. He has the receiving upside. And again, I think I love the value because he was a projected 5th, some say 6th round pick, and the Patriots prevent him from being a UDFA. So I like this move. I really, really do. What are your guys' thoughts on this? I know I and a lot of you others had him in some mock drafts as like a 5th. Some people even had him as like a 4th round pick. So make sure you guys let me know in the comment section below. Leave a big like on this video. And of course, subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. I appreciate you all so much for riding with me through the draft, whether it was live here on day 1, live on Bleacher for day 2, or checking out these draft breakdowns. Really appreciate all of your support. And of course, never forget, go Pats.